up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Trust Your Board podcast. My name's Stephen Wright, joined by Mr. William Monroe. We got another mini mock episode here for you today. Will, what are we doing?
Steve, today we have a 5-round mini mock draft, PPR, and everyone's new hotness, Superflex. So we've got 5 rounds. This scoring format, you're going to be out of the 2 hole, and I am in the 4th spot.
Awesome. Ready to get started?
Yeah, got some decisions on our hands, that's for sure.
Yeah. Every time you're in the top 4, you have to make the decision of Lamar Jackson or Pat Mahomes, and if you're doing it early, one of them has been taken from us already. The 101 was Lamar Jackson. That makes the decision a little bit easier for me. I was thinking going running back. I feel like the last Superflex mock we did, I went with Pat Mahomes early. I might be misremembering that, but I think that's what I did. So I will go ahead and lock in my 101, who I've been talking up recently, and that's going to be Saquon Barkley. And we'll see if you have to make the quarterback decision or if CMC is going to fall to you here. So we'll lock the pick in. And Pat Mahomes does go off the board with the 103. So you really don't have to make that decision.
Yeah, really lucked out there. I was debating that Pat Mahomes or Zeke probably would be the decision if CMC went there. And it'd really be a know your league type of thing. If you know your league goes early quarterbacks and you think you can get some value at running back in the next couple rounds, maybe you grab Mahomes. But in redraft, it's not as dire to get to quarterbacks in the first round or super early because there's just so many more that are relevant as opposed to your dynasty startups where you need to get those young guys for that long period. So won't flap my gums anymore. It's a pretty easy pick. We're going to go with McCaffrey here and see what gets back to us. So lock in CMC. After him goes Zeke, Kamara, Michael Thomas at 7, Murray, Watson, Cook, Dak Prescott, and Russell Wilson. So we have 6 quarterbacks.
That is a heavy first round on quarterbacks.
First round, yeah. Oof. Should have some value coming back to us here. So at the turn, Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders. Got the receivers start up here with Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and Tyreek Hill. So a nice little run there at the end of wide receivers. Still on the board here at quarterback. Usually don't really have to give a rundown in most mock drafts, but with 6 off the board, we're looking at Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Drew Brees as the top quarterbacks available. And then at the receiver position, Godwin, Robinson, Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore. Running back, Kenyon Drake, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb. So still some valuable players available there. We've got the likes of Drake. Austin Eckler is huge in a PPR format. Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubbs. Interestingly, gets severely discounted here. Maybe rightfully so with PPR. But for me, looking at the running back, because there's still too much value available there, and possibly the quarterback position. With the amount of quarterbacks left, there's probably about 4 that I'd be okay with, and I'd be pretty confident that that I'm not gonna have all 4 of them go. So I imagine one we get back, depending on what else goes. So I'm looking at the running back position, and a couple that stick out. Drake, I'm really high on overall in all formats this year. Eckler obviously is huge across the board, and then Josh Jacobs, who I feel like has kind of been slept on. He hasn't gotten that second-year hype train that Miles Sanders has got. I'm, my own home league, kind of trying to make the decision, picking out of the 9th spot of, even though it's standard, kind of where to go. And Josh Jacobs always kind of comes up as a potential option there. But in this type of scoring format, I think it's got to be Eckler or the huge volume play in Drake. I am, already having CMC, got some safety. I'm going to go with the upside shot here in Drake. Maybe had I got quarterback in the first round, taking a little more safer option in Eckler would have made more sense. But we're going to go Drake here and see if I can't get one of these top kind of third-tier quarterbacks in the next round. After I go Drake, Aaron Jones goes to you, Steve.
Yeah, this is a lovely situation. It's always tough in Superflex redrafts because you never know when the quarterbacks are going to go. Sometimes they go heavy early, and sometimes everyone waits. And after I made my Barkley pick, I was like, oh, well, someone like Russell Wilson falls through or Watson gets to me, I'll make the consideration. But at this tier, I'm just going to wait at this point. And that decision is made easier with people like Josh Jacobs and Nick Chubb being on the board. So Josh Jacobs is the guy that I have a little bit higher. And then I'll probably, hopefully, grab the other one on my 3-2. So grab two of them since I'm so close to the turn here. I probably would end up considering Eckler too, which I haven't drafted a whole lot of this year. But, I mean, he makes it to the early third round. That's a pretty good value. No guarantee that's going to happen. Team one could go ahead and just draft two running backs, in which case, we'll see. I'll probably pivot to the wide receiver position because I'm still, not in love with the quarterbacks. But let's see how it plays out. So we're going to lock in Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to get a ton of work this year. Hopefully his pass catching goes up a little bit. We'll see. But love him this year. We'll go ahead and add him. See what gets back to me here. So at the turn, we had Eckler, and then we had Chris Godwin. So Nick Chubb does get back to me, man. In the third round, Nick Chubb, not a PPR guy, but he is going to get a ton of volume in this new offense, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes we were talking about it, maybe on one of the other mocks. I don't remember if it was a side conversation or a mock, but sometimes you look too far into scoring formats. Mm-hmm. I think it was Eckler we had mentioned. He was the RB4 in PPR, but still the RB7 in standard. So everybody looks at him like he's a PPR guy, but he was still very good in a regular standard league. And I feel like Chubb could be the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and lock him in here. It's going to put me in a very running back heavy situation. And, we'll see what gets back to me. Probably going wide receiver and, just won't end up drafting a quarterback in this mock. But we'll see if quarterbacks fall. If I can grab like a Matt Ryan or something, somebody slips through the cracks, that'll be awesome. But we'll play it out and see. So we're going to lock in Nick Chubb. DJ Moore goes off the board right before you. Now you are on the clock.
Puts me in an interesting position with all four of those quarterbacks that I was debating there still on the board. The running backs definitely dried up a tier from the ones that you mentioned there. We've got Gurley, Fournette, Carson, Bell on the board. Just top available. Receivers, still got Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Juju, Mike Evans. So still a ton of receiver depth. Not really looking there. Probably in the next two picks get one, maybe two. But it puts me in an interesting position to potentially go with another positional advantage here with no tight ends off the board. I'm not usually a huge fan of drafting one super early, but with quarterbacks going a lot earlier, pushing down some depth, being able to get the top tight end here, having my choice of Kelsey and Kittle, is huge. They're right neck and neck for me, but if I'm going to pick one, especially here in redraft, it's going to be Kittle. I'm sorry, it's going to be Kelsey because the offense that is around him there, it's, is barring coronavirus, barring injury, and everyone is going to be susceptible to missing a couple games with the virus. I think that offense is going to click, and Kelsey is going to be the fuel there. You still got obviously Hill on the outside. Hopefully gets opened up a little more if CEH is able to get it done early in his season, but it's going to get that positional advantage. I like, if I'm getting one of those top running backs, pairing him with another very good running back and a top tight end here. Really like the start of the team, and then we'll see what gets back to me here in the next round. So after him goes Juju Smith-Schuster, Allen Robinson, Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, Leonard Fournette, George Kittle, Drew Brees, and Adam Thielen. And the third, Chris Carson, Kenny Golladay, Carson Wentz, Mike Evans, Todd Gurley, Odell Beckham, Zach Ertz, and Amari Cooper go off the board. So not a lot of running backs. The four quarterbacks that we mentioned, a few more of the tight ends. A lot of receivers off the board, though. So if we look quarterback, we've got Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, Jared Goff. More than enough guys that I'd be okay with there. So we'll take a look. Running back, we've got Lev Bell, we've got James Conner, Melvin Gordon, David Johnson. Quite a few running backs available there as well. Receiver, we've got both receivers in LA with Woods and Kupp, Ridley, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, And then we still got Mark Andrews and the rest of the bunch. So not looking tight end. Probably not looking quarterback here as well. Looking likely at the receiver position. The only running backs that would give pause would be Lev Bell, would be James Conner, maybe Melvin Gordon. But I'm not thrilled about taking them, and I've already got 2 backs that I'm pretty confident in, so I don't know that I need a third there. So I'm going to go first with my first wide receiver and get a nice consistent option in Robert Woods, and then see what kind of maybe shot options I have available in the next round. So we'll go Robert Woods as my first wide receiver here, pair with McCaffrey, Drake, and Travis Kelce. So after I take him, Tom Brady goes, and you're up, Steve.
It's kind of a double snipe. I actually would have considered Tom Brady here, just to do something a little bit different, and Robert Woods should be no real surprise, but what can you do? So we'll take a look at the receiver position to see what we can add. We got Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett. It's kind of a tough situation. I'm not in love with the quarterback, so I will go ahead and just punt. In the target, maybe in the 6th. I don't know. Daniel Jones, Big Ben, Cam Newton. If I could pair like a Newton and a Goff or something like that, I'd be cool with that. So that's probably what I would be playing with long term. So at the wide receiver position, I love Kupp, but I'm just not playing with that fire this year. I got to see what that offense is going to do with him. And given I'm weighted, I'm going to start a little risk reverse and grab Tyler Lockett as a nice safety play with some decent upside too. Calvin Ridley, he's going to be touchdown dependent, and I think he's going to be good, but when I'm late like this or waiting like this, I want to be a little bit more conservative. A.J. Brown, I really don't know what to think of. The efficiency is going to come down for the entire offense, and I'm sure it's going to bring him down. So we'll see. Keenan Allen, again, an offensive story. It's probably going to bring the offense down. So I just shaky on the guys above where I trust in Keenan Allen, and then hopefully I can pair him with DJ Chark, get a little bit of upside, but McLaurin or Metcalf would be fine too. So we'll see. Gonna lock it, see what gets back to me here. On the turn, we got Aaron Rodgers and Cooper Kupp. So no chinks in my armor there. That's pretty awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and just lock in Chark, give me some upside, and that's gonna round out my team and make me quite happy with what I've pulled off, as long as the quarterbacks don't get real crazy here. We still got plenty of teams without any, a few teams with 2, so I wouldn't think they would draft any, but you never know. We'll see. I got you to deal with as well, who will punish me if he wants to. So locked in DJ Chark, got Lev Bell off the board right before your pick.
So it puts me in an interesting spot. A couple guys that I do like. The receiver I was hoping would get back was A.J. Brown. I went with my favorite safe option. There's still a couple of upside shots, but A.J. is one of my favorite guys to pair with Robert Woods. I just think you got the safe consistency of Woods and the upside with Brown already having some, relied upon offense and upside in Kelce, as well as McCaffrey. Ton of upside in Drake. Brown is probably the pick here, but depending on what I knew about the rest of my league, I would consider going quarterback, and the only one here is my favorite of both of ours would be Matt Stafford. I doubt he or any of the top guys here would get back to me, but Stafford would be the only other one that I'd think about really, aside from going with the upside receiver of A.J. Brown. But we're going to lock that in because, as we said, it's not as imperative to get that top quarterback early here in Superflex redraft leagues. So we're going to lock in A.J. Brown. And we'll see how the rest of this draft goes. Mark Andrews, David Johnson, Jonathan Taylor, Calvin Ridley, Daniel Jones, Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton, and Matt Stafford, the aforementioned, go right at the end of the 5th round here. So that wraps it about up. See, there's still a couple quarterbacks that probably would have fell back to us. So some interesting options here in the mid rounds. But overall, how do you like your 5-round team?
I like it. So we started off with Saquon Barkley, added Josh Jacobs in the 2nd, Nick Chubb in the 3rd, Tyler Lockett in the 4th, and DJ Chark in the 5th. I'm looking at the various teams. I easily have the best running back core of anyone here, probably because I went 3 running backs straight in the beginning. But that's pretty awesome. And then to tie that into Tyler Lockett and DJ Chark, that's pretty solid. Then at least Tyler Lockett's not the flashiest guy in the world, but he's going to be stable for me. DJ Chark has the opportunity to show some flash. Would have to strike at quarterback because this has definitely been a more heavy quarterback drafting league. And with that said, we still have 1, 2, 3. We still have 4 teams that don't have any quarterback. So probably make an adjustment and grab one a little bit earlier unless I want to go real deep and wait. But at some point, it starts getting uncomfortable. So we'd probably be drafting one here and then adding maybe like a Minshew or something later. But overall, I like the way I've started this draft. How about you?
Yeah, I really like it too. And I don't know if it's because it's super flex and you and I both still kind of hold that don't draft the early quarterback mentality, so the team looks a lot better at the other positions. But McCaffrey and Drake in the first 2 rounds, Kelsey, Robert Woods, and A.J. Brown, just thrilled overall about that makeup of that team. But, realize that you get that because you're sacrificing the quarterback position where a lot of teams already have 1, if not 2, very good quarterbacks. So overall, I really do like it. I think, I'd probably take a quarterback in this round unless there's, 2 to 3 that I like kind of on the same level. Then I wait and hope that you probably go 1 and only one of the other 2 go. But overall, no, I think it's a pretty good draft. I'm happy with it as well.
Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Tune in tomorrow for a full mock draft. Until then, trust your board.